Hello, everybody. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about cars, as you can tell by the title of the video. I guess I'll just start with my own personal experience. I've had 4 cars in total. Um, yeah, what can be said about cars? I mean, they can get you from A to B, right? They're pretty miraculous vehicles. I once took a car from Minnesota to Oregon, and I don't know if you're supposed to like prime the car before you take a road trip like that, but I did not, and um, I don't know. It was like a 30-hour drive, right, to just from Minnesota to Oregon, and I mean, I drove it back too, and um, after uh, the road trip, I didn't really use the car again. The car actually got handed down to my little brother, and I remember like 6 months. He had it for like 6 months after I did, um, and the car started having all these like problems, like spark plugs going wrong from day to day. Like they would go wrong, he would fix them, and then a week or two later, that would go again, the same spark plugs, and uh, so yeah. Uh, anyway, there are marvelous vehicles, cars, but apparently they still have a shelf life, or they experience problems when you use them too much. The car I have right now, uh, I have a roof rack on it, and um, I've used the roof rack maybe twice ever. Uh, yeah, roof racks are. I remember the first time I used the roof rack, or I tried anyway. I was nervous about it. I didn't know what I was doing. Uh, I was taking a bike out of town so that I could use it to bike with my family, and I remember just putting it on there. It did not seem secure. I put the one arm up, and I think I did it in the wrong order. There's like 2 arms in the front, and then you strap the back down. So I think I put one arm on the front up and not the other one, so it just kind of like wobbled, like when I started driving, not secure. Uh, Figured disaster was afoot, and I remember about maybe 2 miles into my journey, the bike totally flipped to its side. It was still on top of the car, but it was barely hanging on, and it was kind of like the handlebar was bouncing off the window like that. Speaking of cars, a lot of cars right in front of me. Anyway, um, my first car was a family car, and we it was my older brother's. I'm a middle child. It was my older brother's. It was mine, and then it was my younger brother's. Basically, as long as we needed it. Um, so it had flames painted on the side of it, and I don't know what it is about trucks, or maybe just being in high school made this easier, but it was good with the ladies. I mean, it wasn't even really my truck, but I remember when I I had the truck for like a summer or two, and I would hang out with ladies, with the high school ladies, and I was in high school too. Anyway, um, I would hang out with the ladies, and then when I got the car that followed the truck um, for like a couple weeks, they were all like, "Where's your truck? Like, why are you not picking us up in this sweet ride with the flames on the side," kind of thing. Uh, yeah, and I mean, despite it getting 8 miles to the gallon, uh, I just maybe took that thing for granted. And, you know, truck stigma aside, it definitely had its benefits. It was loud. It was, I live in Minnesota, so getting up the hills was a lot easier than if I were in a car, especially just rear wheel or front wheel drive car. It's a lot easier to be in a truck with 4-wheel drive. And I suppose what the next best thing to a truck would be like a Subaru, which was my car that I had after the truck. So it would be my second car. It was a lease. It was a stick shift, and I still miss stick shift. I've had automatic cars ever since this one car, and it's not maybe the easiest thing to learn. It takes like a few days, maybe some people it takes a few weeks, but definitely when you learn how to drive stick shift, it's a lot of fun because it just kind of keeps your body occupied, like that. I don't know if you can hear that. But yeah, Subaru. Yeah, so those are cars. That's pretty much all I have to say about cars. I mean, it's not like, one thing that kind of amazes me is public transportation, depending on where you live. Where I live, the public transportation is pretty remarkable. There's buses pretty much all day until midnight, maybe, and it's essentially I live on one giant hill, so maybe if I lived in a flatter city, I would bike more, and this video would be on bikes and not cars. But I digress. That was a few stories about cars, and I mean, if you think about cars nowadays, I've seen cars, plenty of them, the newer ones especially, with like computers in them. Tesla comes to mind. I always think Tesla's kind of like its own. It's in a league of its own because I don't know. I guess the engineering on it I'm not an engineer, but it just seems kind of next to none. And I think it's cool that it can drive itself, and it's got a computer basically in the dash, and yeah. So to those of you listening that maybe know more about how cars operate, I'm sorry if this wasn't entertaining, but I don't really know how they work. I mean, I just changed the battery on my grandpa's car with him the other day, and that's about the extent of my knowledge. I can remove screws and tighten stuff, but I don't. That stuff usually goes over my head. But they are cool. Cars are cool. Anyway, if you enjoyed hearing me speak about cars, if you enjoyed the story, if you like the tree behind me, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel, because more wacky and random videos are sure to happen. Uh, yeah. Don't really know what else to say. I should have like a catchphrase, like, uh, uh, I don't know. If you have a good catchphrase, you should leave a comment because maybe I'll come up with one. Or if I see a good one. Anyway, uh, peace and love. Yeah, catch you on the flip side.